All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. I just want to start off by thanking everyone for joining us on our weekly Wednesday night Millennial webinar. We know your time is important and we want to respect your time, so sorry for starting late. But we really appreciate you guys spending your time with us here tonight. A little bit about myself. My name is Amanda. I am 24 years old. I am married. I work for the state of Colorado. And I am a college graduate. After graduating from college, I found myself a little lost. I found myself without a vision. I went to college because that's what I was supposed to do. That's what my parents wanted me to do. That's what you're supposed to do after high school. And that's what I did. But then, like many other college graduates, I was hoping by the grace of God, an amazing job would fall into my lap, and that I would make a ton of money and vacation all the time and travel the world and become a millionaire. But obviously that didn't happen. Bottom line, guys, I found myself without a dream. And how sad is that? At 22 years old, I had a college degree and I didn't have a dream. But then one day my husband, Jamie, came home and said, hey, how was your day? You're looking beautiful. I joined a network marketing company. And guys, I was the definition of an unsupportive spouse. I pretty much said, no way in hell. I hope you get our money back. And I hope the couch is looking nice because that's where you're going to be sleeping for the next week or so. But then don't give up on your spouses, guys. Jamie never gave up on me. And not long after that, I fell in love with the products. And then Jamie came home one day and said, hey, look at this paycheck. And that's when I fell in love with the business. Long story short, I ended up signing up as a distributor and I received my first paycheck. And after I received my first paycheck, that's when I made the decision to go all in. And not long after making that decision, I found myself with a vision. I found myself with a plan for my future and goals for my future, and I found myself dreaming again. I was no longer stumbling along hoping to find an amazing opportunity because, guys, I have that amazing opportunity now, and that's what I'm so excited about and what I'm so excited to share with you. And to share that with you today, we have a very special guest speaker, Seth Campbell. Seth is 32 years old. He is a Pro 9 in our business, and he's one of the top earners in our company. But get this, guys, Seth is just like you and me. He lives in Utah. He has a wife and 4 kids. He's a fellow Broncos fan. Go Broncos. And Seth went to college. Seth went to college. Sorry, can you guys tell I'm a little nervous? But get this, guys, Seth never really had a real job. At 24 years old, he retired from college to pursue a career in network marketing. And he pursued that career because he saw a vision and he saw the potential of what that industry could do for one's future. So he made the decision. He hustled hard, and he became successful enough to retire or to bring home his wife, who at the time was a school teacher. And guys, that's one of my dreams. She hasn't worked in the last 6 or 7 years, and I think that's awesome. Seth has a presence about him where when he speaks, people connect with him and people stop and listen to what he has to say because everything he says has value. And I can't wait for you guys to hear what he has to share with you tonight. And I hope you guys find some value at the end of this webinar. So I'm going to take the spotlight off of me and turn it over to Seth. Seth, so if you want to unmute yourself, it's all yours.
All right, cool. Thank you, Amanda. Can you hear me okay? Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are unmuted. You're good to go.
Awesome. So one of the things I try to do if I'm ever going to be speaking with people in any kind of a business setting is I try to get myself kind of just a little bit focused and in the right, right emotional energy, so to speak, right state. And I had done that and everything was going really well. And then you said the word Broncos and it sucked all the energy out of me. It's a sensitive subject right now. And I just don't know if I can go on in this Zoom anymore. So and now let me ask this question real quick. How many people on this Zoom are in the Denver area? I know this is kind of a Denver group. Is everybody, most people here from Colorado? Cool. Well, that's my former home, you guys. I was born and raised out there, and I love that you know what's funny about Zoom? I love that I can see everybody. And so I was invited on here by Zach, my brother-in-law, and I'm guessing he's feeding a baby, but you can't see the baby. All you can see is him. There we go. Okay, good. All I can see is him taking a spoonful of food, and then it goes off screen for a minute. So it looked kind of weird, but there's the baby. So anyway, thank you guys for inviting me on and give me just a few minutes. I'm not going to take a lot of time, and I'm going to go, you know, the one question I didn't ask Zach beforehand is if this was kind of an opportunity deal or a training deal or anything like that. Yes to the first one or second?
Opportunity.
Oh, perfect. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm really just going to basically tell you guys, those of you that are on here, my experience, my story, and tell you a little bit about what I've discovered over the last 9 years as I've been a part of this industry and a part of this company. For me, like Amanda was mentioning, I was 24 years old. I was a college student when I was introduced to network marketing, and I didn't necessarily have the skepticism that a lot of other people have, but I think I was drawn to it primarily for the fact that I really, really have hated at the core, you know, at 24, I realized at my core, I hated every job I ever had, and I hated something about going to school as well. And it's not that I hated I enjoyed what I was learning. I liked some of my coworkers. I had some fun at work in the past in jobs, but there was something that never sat well with me about being told what to do, about being, you know, somebody else giving me my schedule. I don't mind being busy. I'm fine being busy, but I hate being busy on somebody else's timetable. I didn't like, you know, have any of you ever had the experience where you're sitting at work and you're actually watching the clock and you're looking at it and it's 4 o'clock, you're like, all right, I'm off at 5. And that 4 to 5, you watch every 5-10 minutes, you're like looking at the clock, and it seems like every 10 minutes goes a little slower than the previous 10 minutes. And just that feeling of I'm stuck here. I can't leave until I'm told I can leave, until the clock is 5 o'clock or whatever, right? Same with school, right? I got to get up at a certain time. I've got to be there at a certain time. I never liked that. But the thing that really bothered me in my early 20s, you guys, is that I started to pay a little bit closer attention to the kind of life that most people live when they're in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, and as people got older, because there's this assumption in us, I think for me anyway, in my early 20s, I had this assumption that I'll pay the price now, I'll work really hard, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to get this degree, I'm going to work really hard for a couple years, and then I'll find a way to just be free, and I'll play golf a lot, and I'll just enjoy life. Just this assumption that maybe I'll climb the corporate ladder, or I'll have a really successful small business or something like that, and I'll have all the freedom in the world. But I started to pay attention, and the thing that I realized was that most people, they're living paycheck to paycheck. It's the bottom line. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Even people that we would consider successful because they make good money still are living paycheck to paycheck, you guys, because what they do is they go and they get the big house and the nice cars, and the paycheck doesn't go as far as they thought it would. And the thing that really sucks about that is that their time does not belong to them. They spend the bulk of their time doing what they're told to do or doing what they have to do. There's always a job at the center of their life. At the center of everything they do, there's the job. There's work. Everything revolves around work. And that's not the way anybody intends for it to be. That's just the way it is. Because when you're living on linear income is this model where you exchange time for money. I got to give an hour of my time or 8 hours of my time or a month of my time to get my paycheck. That's linear income. And no matter what amount of linear income it is, if you're living on a model of linear income, you do not control your time. And there's always a shortage of time. Everything will always revolve around the job. You know, you never check with your son's baseball coach to see if you can go to work. It's not the way it works. You check with the boss to see if you can go see the baseball game. And that didn't sit well with me. And that's what drew me to this industry. I was introduced to it, and I was introduced to the individual that became my first mentor. A lot of you know who he is, Marcel. He got on the phone with me and started telling me a little bit about his story. I didn't understand most of what he said. He talked really fast. He said a bunch of things I didn't understand. He said some words I didn't understand. And I think he said some words he didn't understand. And it was one of those phone calls where I didn't have a lot of detail, but I remember feeling excited, because one thing that stuck out to me was he talked about how he's lived for the last 12 years or 10 years at that time of his life on residual income. And I was introduced to this concept of the fact that this guy had gone out and done something. He had done something to create some kind of value, and now he had money coming in no matter what he was doing. He could sit home and make money, and that was completely new to me. That was foreign to me. They didn't teach that in high school. My parents didn't tell me about this this idea that I can kind of, build something that will pay me when I'm done building it. I thought the only way to create residual income was to be a celebrity, right? Like a musician, which even musicians I don't think make that great of residual income anymore either, by the way. Think about it for a second. You can pay $8.99 a month to have Spotify, and you can have 10,000 songs on there. So how much money are these guys making per download, right? That's not even a great industry anymore. It's taken a huge hit. And so I didn't know any other way to create residual income. And so all of a sudden, I got this guy on the phone. I'm 24 years. I want you to think of, put yourself in my shoes. If you've never heard this stuff before at all, I'm 24 years old. I'm a full-time college student. I'm not a businessman. I'm not a salesman. I don't have I don't have a resume that would be attractive to anything, any kind of, corporate America executive position, anything like that. And yet I've got this guy on the phone who's a millionaire telling me that I can create residual income in my life, that I can have a lot of it, that I can make a 6-figure income or a 7-figure income. And it's just as simple as just doing what he tells me to do. I mean, to me, it excited me. You got two options at that point. When somebody who's had some success tells you that you can do what they've done, you have two options. You can either subscribe to the theory that if it sounds too good to be true, it must be true. It must be false. I mean, if it sounds too good to be true, it's probably not true. And become skeptical and think, well, this guy must be lying to me. He's out to get me. And you can shut your mind off and go ahead and keep punching the clock. Or like I did, you get excited and think, what if this guy's telling the truth? What if I actually do what he says? Because he's had results, obviously. He's had success. I think success, the formula is pretty simple. If I could just find somebody who's done it, whatever it is that I want to do, whatever it is that I want to accomplish, if I can just find somebody who's accomplished that and then copy them, get their mentorship, get their experience, and then just do what they tell me to do, I should be able to get the same results, right? There's nothing magical about it, you guys. If I can find someone who's done it and is willing to teach me, then I should be able to just get the results if I copy them. And so I've got this guy, Marcel, telling me all this success that I can have in the position I'm in, and I got excited enough to give it a shot. I mean, I got off the phone call with him. I was on the phone for about 10 minutes. It took me maybe 10 seconds after I hung up to really just to know I'm doing this. I'm going to do it. You guys, I'll tell you a little bit about my mentality. And hopefully you've got a similar mentality about you. I would much rather try and fail than not try and watch somebody else succeed. I'm telling you, that would hurt worse. We get all scared of failure, right? And I had a little bit too. I decided I was going to do it, and then all the doubts start to creep in, like, oh, you know what? You got friends who told you shouldn't do that. That probably won't work, blah, 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 blah. So I had the skepticism start to try to creep in. But we get scared of failure for some reason. And, my mind almost got me scared of failure just a little bit. But the thing that's really scary is if you never actually take a shot and you sit there and do nothing and you watch somebody else go make it happen. You watch somebody else get rich. You watch somebody else have their freedom. You watch somebody else do something amazing and incredible so that you can watch their life through social media and watch all the vacations they go on and all the cool crap that they get to do that you never get to do because you're too scared of failure, and you can just be jealous for the rest of your life, like most of society. That should scare the crap out of you. That should be way worse than the thought of maybe trying something and it doesn't work. So that was my mentality. I'm like, you know what? I got to give this thing a shot. And if I fail, I fail, and whatever. It's not a big deal. It won't change. If I fail, it's not going to impact my lifestyle 5 years from now that I failed at something when I was 24. But you know what? If I can have just a fraction of what that guy has, if it might actually work, then I got it. Then that changes my life dramatically 5 years from now, right? So I jumped into this thing at 24, you guys. I got some information. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail tonight, but I'll tell you what to look for, because I was taught what to look for. I found those things, and the result for me was I started at the age of 24. Just to make a long story really short, Amanda mentioned on here that I'm married. My wife at the time was a high school teacher, so she was the breadwinner, right? She was the. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'll tell you two things. My wife was the breadwinner for the first 3 years of our marriage, and I drove a Toyota Prius. So there you go. It's out there. But she was the breadwinner. She's a high school teacher. She was we were living on her income, and in a period of about 3 years, and this is an income claim, so I'm going to encourage you to go look at the income disclosure statement when we're done here. But in the period of it was less than 3 years, about 2.5 years, we had replaced her teaching salary. But what we did was we replaced her annual salary on a monthly basis. We were making the amount of money she would make in 12 months as a teacher. We made that every 30 days. And we have continued to make at least that much or more every 30 days since I was 26 years old. I'm 33 now. So for the last 7 years, we made a teacher's annual salary every month, 7 straight years, every single month without fail, regardless of what I've done. I can shut it down right now. I could turn my phone off because I've got people in my organization who understand the business, who are leaders, who are incredible at what they do. I could shut this phone off or toss it in a river and leave the country for a month. And guess what's going to happen? On the 15th of next month, I'm going to get another paycheck. It's going to be the same amount or more than it always is. And so that's the power of residual income. What that has done for me, you guys, is it's given me, first of all, options. It's given me the ability to live a lifestyle that I would not have gotten to live had I not taken the chance. More importantly than that, it's given me my time. It's given me freedom. You guys, I don't wake up to alarm clocks. I hate alarm clocks. I really do. I think I probably wake up to alarm clock like 4 to 6 times a year. And I get so mad every time I'm going to bed. Like, for example, we have these events in this company. They call them Elite Academy Convention. And usually we start at 9 a.m. on Saturday. And Friday night, I'm so bummed out because I'm excited to be at the event, but I'm like, man, I got to set an alarm clock tomorrow. That sucks because I don't do alarm clocks. I'm not a fan of them. But my point is, you guys, it's giving me my time. It's giving me the ability to do what I want to do and to live my life the way that I want to live my life. I don't have to ever ask anybody permission to go to my son's baseball game. That does not exist in my life. I don't have to ask for time off, right? I don't ever have anybody call me to ask if I can stay late on a Friday night or come in on a Saturday, okay? And so the point is, this business model, the network marketing business model, there's a reason why you need to look at it. There's a reason why every American has got to take a look at the network marketing business model. A lot of people, they kind of live in this cloud of skepticism or curiosity or questioning when it comes to, network marketing. Does it really work? There's a couple things I'm going to tell you guys before we go into what to look for. Here's why you got to look. If you're a guest on here looking at this for the first time, here's why you have to look. Number one, right now it's the fastest growing industry in the United States of America. I want you to think about this for just a second, okay? Think about the radical shift we're seeing in our economy right now. Right now, in our economy, in the United States of America, you think about the fact that the biggest taxi cab company doesn't own any cars. Think about Uber. What is Uber? What drives Uber? What really drives and makes that thing go is people needing a side hustle. It's people, Zach, I see you checking the score there. Hopefully they're winning. Anyway, it's people needing to create a side hustle. It's people realizing, and by the way, a lot of it is millennials. I love that we're having a millennial gathering right now. But it's people realizing, you know what? The 9 to 5 is not going to cut it for me. I don't get paid enough. I'm not doing that for the next 30 years. I'm not going to let someone tell me what to do for the next 30 years. They're figuring out something else, something different. And so they're going out and they're driving for Uber a couple of hours a night to make some extra money on the side to pay for a vacation or to maybe get themselves out of their job eventually. They're renting out their house on Airbnb, right? There's all these different things that people are doing. And so we're seeing kind of a shift in mentality where people are a little bit less satisfied with the status quo than they were 20 years ago. 15, 20 years ago, you had people who were a little bit more willing to just do what they're told. Now people are not like that. They're a little less satisfied with the status quo. They kind of want to think outside of the box and hustle and do something on the side and kind of create their own, separate streams of income. And I love that. The network marketing industry right now, you guys, 160,000 people a week in the United States alone are joining a network marketing company. 160,000 a week. Right now, there are 20 million people in this country that are actively participating in a network marketing company. You guys, 20 million. And 70% of those are millennials. 70% of the people in this industry right now in the USA are ages 35 or younger. What does that mean? Think about what the network marketing industry is going to look like 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. Guys, it's going to be as mainstream as anything else. You guys, there's going to be people on every street doing a network marketing company. And it's funny because when I first started 9 years ago, it doesn't seem like that long, but close to a decade ago, when I first started the network marketing industry, people might have had the question that was more like, you're doing one of those things? You're doing an MLM, Now it's almost like you talk to somebody and you hear people complain about their job or complain about not making enough money or, when I get to go on vacation, You almost want to ask them the opposite, like, are you not doing network marketing? Is there something wrong with you? Let me ask you a question. Do you have a mouth that works? Yes. Okay. Do you ever have a free hour ever in a day? Oh, you've got that too? Then why the heck are you not doing something? Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. I was at Target yesterday. All right. And there's this term that I became familiar with. There's this term I became familiar with called drifters. For any of you that have read the book, Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's termed drifters, right? And this is going to sound harsh, okay? But I'm walking in Target, and I'm in a huge hurry. And it was a Saturday, okay? But I was in a hurry. I had some stuff I needed to do for business that I was, I needed to get home. And I had to go to Target to get some printer ink. I had to get home to print some papers off. So I'm in Target, and I go down this aisle, and there's a guy in front of me. And he looks like he's probably just a little older than me. He looks like he's maybe 40 or something like that. and he's pushing a cart. He's kind of leaning on it. And I don't know if he was walking any slower, he'd have been going backwards. Like he looked like he had nothing going on, nothing to do. And it's just like, if he, I imagine I could like hear his voice in my head. It's probably sounded like Eeyore, you know, from Winnie the Pooh. I know I'm being a jerk, but he's not on the Zoom. So, you know, but he was walking so slow, and he was just kind of like leaning on the cart like this, just kind of looking at stuff on like both sides of the aisle. And I got irritated because I was trying to like pass him, and the guy kept kind of swerving his cart. And finally I went around him, and I was just like, man, this guy's just drifting. He's drifting through Target right now. And the thought I had was, and he just, I don't know, he had kind of a mopey look on his face. And I'm completely judging him, by the way. I know that. And maybe he was just having a bad day or tired or whatever. But the thought I had was this. I thought, you know what? I'm willing to bet that guy has not reached all of his goals in life. I'm willing to bet he hasn't hit all of his economic goals with life. I'm willing to bet he hasn't hit all of the goals he's had as far as what kind of influence he wants to have in the world, or what kind of impact he wants to have, or anything. I'll bet there's a lot of stuff this guy would like to accomplish that he hasn't accomplished yet. And if that's the case, I'm going to be very blunt. If there's things out there that he wishes that are not real for him, I wish I had more of this. I wish I had more money at the end of every month. I wish I had more free time to spend with my family. If these are wishes in his heart, he has zero business drifting around Target on a Saturday, his day off from work, like he's got nothing to do except look around at what's on the aisles of Target. Why in the world are you not figuring out a way to hustle for your family and create a better life? That was the thought I had that went through my mind. Here's what I love about millennials. And this is not exclusive to millennials. There are non-millennials. Like, this is going to shock you guys, but I saw Steve Fixer's name on here. He's actually not a millennial. I know you can't believe that because he's a millennial at heart. He's got the energy of millennial, but there are non-millennials that have this hustle about them, of course. But the thing I love about millennials is they're not like that. You're a lot less likely to see. I feel like there's something about that youth, that there's this hunger. There's that you still have this belief. Some of you guys on here still have this belief that you can go conquer the world. So I anticipate I'm not going to see you drifting around Target like you've got nothing to do on a Saturday. Because if you've got 3 free hours on a Saturday to mope around through Target, that's 3 hours that you can go grind and hustle and build wealth so that you can do whatever the heck you want. So that when you do have a completely free day, you can hop on a plane and go to the Bahamas or something like that, right? Doesn't that sound better? And so anyways, moving back to network marketing. That's what I love about network marketing, you guys. It's growing, and it's growing fast. People are realizing this. I'm going to put it really simply, you guys. Network marketing is far and away, it is the best way for the average person to create residual income, to create walkaway income, to create time freedom, to create leverage. You're not going to find a better way to do it. I'm not going to say there's no other way to do it, but I can promise you're not going to find a better way to do it. You're not going to find an easier or more simple way to do it. You're not going to find a way to do it that has a lower barrier of entry than network marketing. And most importantly, you guys, is the number one reason most people fail is because they try things blind, meaning they don't have a mentor, they don't have somebody to teach them or show them the way. You're not going to find a better place to be as far as being in a place where you're going to have some mentorship and someone to teach you the way than in this industry, and in particular in this company. And so if you're going to look at this industry, obviously, you know what I wanted, my point with all that is that you've got to look, okay? Unless what you have in life right now is exactly what you want and you're done. There's no need to maximize anything else. But if you want anything more out of life, you've got to take a look at network marketing, because not only will it make your life easier if you can make a couple $100 a month, maybe a couple $1,000 a month, but it could completely change your life. But if you're going to look in the industry, there's a couple things you've got to look for. There's a few things you have to realize what to look for, to help you make the best decision. I'm going to go through those really, really quickly, guys. And I'm not sure what time this is supposed to end, but I'm going to try to wrap this up fairly soon. Okay. Number one, guys, is timing. Timing is kind of important, right? Timing is pretty, think about it this way, in terms of investments, right? If you could put $10,000 into Apple right now, in Apple stock right now, are you going to be rich on that ever? No. Your money's safe. Apple's not going anywhere, right? But you're not going to get rich on it, right? The Apple stock's not going to grow, it's not going to multiply 1,000 times its value over the course of the next 5 to 10 years or 20 years or 30. It's just not, right? It's already a $700 billion company. But what if you could take that same $10,000 and go back to 1982 and give it to Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak in the early 80s and invest in Apple then? Are you rich right now? Yeah, you're worth several $1 million on a $10,000 investment. When was Apple a better company? 1982 or 2017? It's a better company now, right? Way better products, way better man. Everything about it is better right now. but timing was what was different back then, right? And so what you want to find is you want to find a company, not necessarily a company that's 6 months old. Everyone gets all really excited about, like, I want to be the first one in, right? You're not realizing that 9 out of 10 of those things don't make it to 12 to 18 months. They're out of business. But what if you could find a company that is, 5, 6, 7 years in or more? So they've got some stability. They're profitable. They're cash flow positive, all that stuff. They've got the foundation, so the rug's not going to get pulled out from underneath you. But they're not the billion-dollar company yet. They haven't been around for 25 years. That's what you want to find. You want to find that position where most people still don't know who you are. You've got a foundation. You've got a little bit of leadership, but most people don't know who you are yet. The bottom line is there's 330 million people in the United States of America. 99.99% of them have never heard the term LifeVantage before, ever, because nobody watches Major League Soccer. So most people have never heard of LifeVantage. And so if I insulted any MLS fans, I really apologize, but it's totally true. You know it. People don't gather in sports bars all over the country to turn on the soccer game, right? In the U.S., at least in this country. Maybe that'll change someday. I don't know. But anyway, maybe if they could sponsor football teams, NFL teams, that would be better. But anyways, people don't know who we are. Nobody knows who LifeVantage is. That's key. That's important, right? And here's why it's important. Do you think, let me just ask yourself this one logical question. Just by nature, you guys understand the concept of things going viral. You see posts on Facebook and videos on YouTube go viral. That's what happens in network marketing. Think about this for a second. Herbalife is a network marketing company that's been around for about 35 years now. And that 35 years, they've grown to the point where they're in 81 countries around the world, millions and millions of people that use their products. They do over $5 billion with a B in annual sales. That's what happens when something goes viral. When enough people have told enough people who have told enough people who now it's hit this critical mass, where now everyone's starting to hear about it. And that happened for Herbalife about 20 years ago. And people got rich when it did. Let me ask you a question. Just follow the logical steps of where we are. You guys, we launched in 2009. Our first year, we did 11 million. That's it, 11 million in sales. This year, we're going to do around 200, okay? We've been around for 9 years. Right now, most people have never heard of us. Do you think it's going to stay that way? Do you think there's any way that it just stops right here, right now? No, probably not, right? So things are going to change. There's millions of people who have never heard about us who are going to hear about us. And so keep that in mind. Timing is one of them. The second thing that you've got to find on your side, you got to find a product or a service. Like, what's unique? What does this company actually bring to the table? What am I bringing to the world here? Is it different? One of the other pitfalls is you tend to see people get really, really excited about the same old thing, just with a different label. Like, I've got this new juice, and I know there's like a bunch of companies that do a juice. But this juice, like, the bottle's purple, which is awesome because purple bottles are really cool looking. And, we've got Z's and X's in our name because every juice company has either a Z or an X in their name because that's the trendy thing to do. Or I've got this really good idea. How about a watch that tracks your heart rate? No one's ever done that, right? And so people fall in love with like the 1,000th version of the same dang thing. And it's going to be really hard to get passionate long-term about something that is not actually benefiting the world at all. And there's a lot of network marketing companies out there that are doing nothing to make the world a better place. They're just trying to get some of this. Hey, drink this juice and pay me some money for it. Hey, wear my wearable watch and pay me some money for it. Is it going to make the world? No, it's not. It's actually like the 97th best version of the crap on the market, but it's going to make me some money real quick, right? That's what makes people dislike this industry. If you're going to do this, why don't you actually get behind a product with some purpose? What if you could find something that can actually have a positive impact in somebody's life? What if you could find something that's so unique that there's actually nothing else like it, that it's actually patented, that it's got scientific studies? And so I'll tell you guys very, very briefly a little history of our product, Pro Tandem, our flagship product. It launched in the company launched in 2009. The product's been around since 2003, actually, been studied since 2003. But what initially happened with it was, you've got a huge antioxidant industry, anti-aging industry, people taking antioxidants like vitamin C and vitamin E and resveratrol and the acai berry and all these things to try to stay young. This matters to people, right? It's important to people. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. What happened was a scientist out of the University of Colorado at Denver, which is actually most of your backyard, along with a couple of other gentlemen, they helped develop and kind of discover a product that their claim was simply this. Their claim initially was, we've developed a product. It's 5 all-natural ingredients. If you take this thing for 30 days, you won't be able to distinguish the difference between an 80-year-old and a 20-year-old by looking at a blood test. Now, obviously, immediate skepticism if you hear that, right? 80 to 20. You're telling me an 80-year-old on this product is going to have the same blood work as a 20-year-old on this product. That sounds crazy to me. So as a result of that, ABC Primetime comes forward to do a special investigative report. And many of you have probably seen that. If you haven't, then I would check it out. But ABC Primetime does a special on it, where they actually take the host of the show, draw his blood, and they show the world this man's got the blood of a 53-year-old man because he's 53. They put him on the product for 2 weeks. They draw his blood again, and he's got the blood of a child after 2 weeks. It actually worked. That's never happened before. And the result of that, you guys, was all these universities started to come forward. Places like Harvard Med School, the American Heart Association, which I know American Heart is not a university, but it's a pretty credible institution still. American Heart Association, Louisiana State, Vanderbilt, Virginia Commonwealth University, all these really well-respected medical institutions and medical journals and medical universities have come forward now and done their own independently funded studies on this patented product. And they have found it is the only product in the world that's ever been clinically proven to actually slow down the aging process in a human. It does it through this little method we call biohacking, which basically just means it messes with your biology in a good way. It turns on some genes in your body. You have a gene in your body called the NRF2 gene, and it turns that thing on. And when that gene is turned on, you are aging slower. Your body combats aging at a much, much better and more effective rate than if it's not turned on. And so that's what this product does. There's nothing else in the world that actually does what it does. There's no other product in the world that's patented to do what it does. There's no product in the world right now that has a scientific validation and studies that prove that it does what it does, and it stands alone. And so you get to get behind a product that's actually making an impact. Now, here's a really exciting part. You get to watch the disruption of an entire industry. I want you to think for just a second, and since this is a millennial Zoom, this should be fun, but how many of you, now I'm 33, okay? So I actually have a memory of doing this, that I'm willing to bet some of you on this Zoom have never had to do this before. But when I was like in middle school and high school, at least the first 2-3 years of high school, I almost did 5 years of high school, by the way. That fourth year it got tight there at the end, but I got out. But when I was like in middle school and the first couple years of high school, if there was a girl that I liked, I had to pick up the phone, and it didn't look like this, and I had to call her house and talk to her dad. And it was weird. And I had to be like, hello, sir, is so-and-so there? And he'd be like, who's this? And dads always make their voices way deeper when they're talking to a boy for their daughter, like, who's this? And I'd have to like answer some questions and go through this mini interview and then get on there was no such thing as just texting. I couldn't just like get around the parents and just talk straight to this girl that I like. That's the way it worked, right? How many of you on here remember the last time you had to get up from your kitchen table and walk over to your phone and answer it because it was stuck to the wall? How many of you even remember the last time you did that? Okay, I see someone put in the comment pager. You remember pagers? And somebody would page you and they'd put 911 and then their phone number, and you'd like rush to a phone and call them, and they'd be like, dude, you want to go see this movie tonight? And you're like, why'd you put 911? You can't put 911 unless it's an emergency. Some of you have had that experience. And so those of you that are like above 30 probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, here's the point, you guys. There used to be a day when this is the way that it worked. Our phones, the phone was not something that you had. The phone was something your house had, right? People would leave a message and you'd have to get home and listen to your messages. You know what I mean? When was the last time you remember stopping and putting quarters into a payphone? Do any of you remember the last time you did that? I don't remember the last time I did that, okay? Because every one of us has this little thing right here, okay? We have all watched before our very own eyes an entire industry get completely disrupted. The telecommunications industry got destroyed by the invention of smartphone technology. And we get to watch that happen again, because tens of billions of dollars are being spent every year on antioxidant and anti-aging supplements that do not have any scientific validation. They don't have Harvard studies. They're not published in the Journal of the American Heart Association. They're not even patented. And people flush money down the toilet on this stuff. What do you think is going to happen when we hit that point of going viral in this company, to the point where now all of a sudden several million Americans have heard about this $40 a month supplement that is patented and clinically proven and backed up by Harvard and the AHA to actually slow down the aging process in your body, and it's just $40, and that crap you're buying at GNC is $70, and this is cheaper anyway, but it actually works? What do you think is going to happen, you guys? What we have here is we have the smartphone of anti-aging when everybody else is still putting quarters into payphones right now. They don't even know what's about to change, and you get to be at the forefront of that. Okay, and so that brings me to the last couple things real quick. If you could find those things, if you can find a good solid product that you can get behind, if the timing is right, which the timing is definitely right now, it's as right as it's ever going to be. And if you can find those things along with a good, strong, solid compensation plan, a way that you can actually get paid and make money, okay? Now, I'm going to make another income claim. And again, you guys all promised me that you're going to look at the income disclosure statement. So as far as the comp plan, all I'll say is this, guys. I started at 24 with zero experience. I have made several $1 million now in network marketing in the last 9 years. Okay. I've made more. I'm not going to give you an exact number, but I can say now in my 9-year network marketing career, I'm a multi-million-dollar income earner in this thing. So as a comp plan, does it pay well? It pays really, really, really well. Trust me. I'm really overpaid. I promise you. My first 6 to 12 months, I felt like I was a little underpaid. I'm way overpaid now, you guys. For the amount of hours I actually work, it's ridiculous how much they send me every month. So yes, you can make a lot of money in this thing, all right? So when you found all of those things, the last 2 things you've got to find are, is there a system? Is it something that I can actually do? Is it doable for somebody like me? What if I don't have a personality? What if I'm an introvert? What if I'm scared of my own shadow? What if I'm not a salesman, right? Because there's people out there that have that concern. Can they still do it? You guys, listen, it's really this simple. If you have the ability to text, because we have an app that you can actually just text videos with information that I'm giving you right now. You can text them from an app straight to someone's phone. And if they are interested after the video, just invite them onto the next Zoom like this. So you don't even have to really technically have a voice box to be able to do this thing. So the last thing you have to ask yourself is it right for me? Or rather, am I right for this? Because the first few questions tell you whether or not it's right for you, right? Is the timing right? Is the product solid? All those things. Well, then yes, it's a good opportunity. Well, am I right for the opportunity? Here's what it comes down to, you guys. What you've got to do is there's 2 things I'll say. Number 1, for me, network marketers, effective network marketers are people who don't like being told what to do. They're people who kind of have a little bit of a desire to buck the system, right? If you're one of those people that kind of gets bothered when others have control, you know what I'm saying? Like whether it's the government having just a little bit too much control or corporate America having a little bit too much control. If you're one of those people that kind of has this something in you that's like, don't tell me what to do, man. I'm going to do it my own way. Mind your own business, right? Almost this libertarian type mentality, not to get political, but if there's something in you that's like that, this is your industry. This industry is filled with people who kind of just want to thumb their nose at the system, so to speak. You know, the system is the system that tells you the way that you've got to get it done. You got to go to school, you got to get a degree, you got to punch the clock for 40 hours a week, scrape together some money, invest it wisely to a 401k, be a responsible citizen, and maybe, if you're lucky, we'll let you retire when you're 75 years old and live kind of a mediocre life at that point. That's the system. If you have this feeling of like, screw that, screw the system, I'm gonna do it my way, this is your industry. That's the first thing I see in people that love this industry. But the real kicker, the real way to find out if this fits you or not, is you just have to take a minute, close your eyes, and picture what your life would actually look like if time and money was not an issue. If you had enough money that money didn't matter anymore and you couldn't outspend your bank account, how would that be, by the way? I remember what it felt like to overdraft my account. It sucks. I used to do that. I had months where I would overdraft my account by like 29 cents and they'd charge me a $35 fee. Blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. Some of you have had that experience, right? That feeling, that suffocating feeling, you know. Zig Ziglar once said, money is not everything, but it ranks up there with oxygen. I think that's kind of true. Money's like air, you know what I mean? Because when you're breathing and there's plenty of air, you don't really think about air. But you ever get the wind knocked out of you? You know that feeling? Like when you're suffocating, you don't know where your next breath is going to come from? That's what it's like when money's tight. When you're down to your last couple bucks and you don't get paid for 5 days. It's suffocating. It consumes you. It's all you can think about. That's not the way to live, because money should not be that important. The people who really don't have to think about money, people that money is not that important to them, are the people that have enough that they don't have to worry about it. So get yourself there. So picture, what does my life look like if time and money is no longer an issue? If financially I'm free and if my time is free, what does my life actually look like? Who do I spend my time with? What do I spend my time doing, right? And what's my impact? What am I doing on a Monday, on a Tuesday? Picture that. And then simply ask yourself a few questions. Is what I'm doing today going to get me there in the next 3 to 5 years? Not ever, not in 50 years. I'm not interested in 50 years, 3 to 5. Is what I'm doing right now going to get me there in 3 to 5 years? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then the next question is, then am I willing to get a little bit uncomfortable? Would I be willing to put myself out there, to take a shot, to do something that might be kind of hard, to do something that might be kind of uncomfortable? Am I willing to get out there and try something if it might have the chance of giving me that life in 3 to 5 years? And if the answer is maybe, then just don't do it. You got to be the kind of person that the answer is yes, absolutely. For me, I'll tell you where I was coming from. I would walk through a brick wall to have my freedom. That's what it came down to. There was nothing that would stop me from at least trying, because I couldn't stomach the thought of never trying and then never having that life. I had to give it a shot. If that's like you, if that's your feeling, then you need to do it. And don't do it halfway. Don't do it 90% of the way. Do it all the way. Get yourself involved in the company. It'll be a great, trust me, financially, it's the best decision I've ever made. Get yourself involved in this thing. And then when you are involved, if you really want to make money, most people, I'll tell you a secret, for those of you that are new, most people get involved in network marketing and they're in and out. It's an ebb and flow. They're inconsistent. They work really hard one day. They don't do much the next day. They're all in for a couple weeks and they kind of disappear for a couple. When you get involved, if you can just give yourself 12 solid months of all out massive effort, you will make so much more money than everybody else in this industry. It'll blow your mind. So anyway, you guys, that's just a little bit about my story and what I've found, what I've learned over the last 9 years, a better part of a decade about this great industry. You guys are sitting in the right place at the right time. It's just really about what you want. And if this fills one of your needs, then don't sit around and think about it for the next 3 weeks. That's what everybody else does. Observe the masses and do the opposite. Successful people know how to act and make a decision. So I encourage you to do the same thing. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it back to Amanda. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Seth. All right, everyone, I hope you guys found some value in tonight's webinar. Thank you so much for joining us. Get with the person who invited you if you have any questions. And then we'll just hang around for a little bit if anyone had questions for the group. Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Have a great week. Happy holidays. And stay safe. All right, guys. Anyone have questions? We're just going to call it. Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.